Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
So on the 750, we want a bottom tube in that white ring over there.
White ring, please.
So we'll go ahead and take, I'll just set this here so you guys can see. Should have taken the liner off over there. We're gonna take the liner off. All right, so we've got our top tube and we've got our tube ring. These two are gonna fit together and then essentially just sit right on top there. On the tube ring itself, there's little notches here and slots on the tube that will match up. And so all you got to do is just take them, line them up.
There you go.
And it's good to go. We're going to go ahead and take our tape and we're going to seal that to it. Okay, so we'll just take this here, the tape, and we're going to make a bond between the ring and the tube itself to hold it in place. We want to be careful not to get that angle because we still have to make an angle yet. We're just going to tape this off down here, make sure that we're not taping that off yet. So as I mentioned before, these empty core tape cores work really well for creasing this down. So what you want to do, because the tape, all of the tape that we have is all pressure sensitive for the adhesive, so it's got a pressure sensitive backing on it, and so by creasing it down is going to help make a bond. What it does too, it actually helps block out all the light. So if there's any spots here where there's light maybe leaking out, it's going to help block that out so you're not have light leaking through so bugs find their way in or dust or debris finding its way inside there. So it's going to seal that off. So that's set to go. We can go ahead and then set the flashing down, or the top tube and ring. We can set it on there. And then we have to find our target. And so we find our target by adjusting the tubing. The X is our target down there, actually, so that's exactly where we're going to measure it off to. And actually, before I do that, I put it in. I think we'll go ahead and add one extension tube right now.
Yep.
So we'll go ahead and add one extension tube. So big difference in the M74 and the SolaMaster product is that there's no tab locks on the SolaMaster product. So we have notches here that will accept that top ring. So if you're using just a straight tube to begin with, you can go ahead and use that at the top. Great for open sealing applications. So if you've got shorter sealing spaces and you're going to use a 750 or 330, you can use just a straight extension tube for that. So you can attach that there. The bottom of all the extension tubes are notched out to accept the diffuser. So there's little tabs on the diffuser. They're kind of triangular shape and they'll fit right inside these notches here. So on all the tubing, it's going to be notched. And there's a notch system here that we have to assemble. So you can see that there's a shallow and a deep notch here, same here all the way through. The intention of this is that we actually have at the very top a wide open tube and then funnel down to the bottom. So it's a very exaggerated form. We have a large opening to small opening all the way through. So the next tube will be the same, large to small, all the way down to the bottom. So we'll go ahead and just put the tape on that one. So I'm just going to notch this. So I'm going to use this guide because this was intended for the top. That just keeps me mentally, I know that that's the top. The bottom will be smaller diameter. So I'm going to put this in the shallow notch, makes it a wide opening. I'm actually going to take this here and bend it just a little bit. It's going to help with the assembly. And then I'm going to take this one here and push it into the deep notch, which makes it a small opening at the bottom. So now I've got a tapered tube from top to bottom. So then I can go ahead and take tape and seam it all the way down. And take that empty core and seam that down. Okay. Then I can go ahead and take my top tube And then I can go ahead and install it here. Now the top tube on all your tubing is always going to be much larger than the extension tube, so this will fit inside. It's a pretty snug fit. So one of the tricks here is that you can see there's a marking on the tubes on the top and the bottom of it. And what it is, it's a 2-inch marker. So all your tubes have to be overlapped. So they have to overlap at least an inch. But if you've got long extension runs, your typical plenum space is going to be about an average of 8 to 10 feet anyway. So what you're looking at is overlapping, and this gives you a guide so that your tubes are straight and you're not going off of your angle a little bit there. So that really helps for finding your mark there and then fastening the tube together. So when you tape these, the tape connection, I want to put the tape on first so I don't lose it. Once we get it taped, then it's in the right position. Okay, so we get that all seamed out. And all of our tube connections are going to be taped and fastened together. So we're going to take those tube fasteners that I pulled out earlier. That tape, they're conveniently stashed inside the tape rolls. And we're just going to add 2 screws on either side to hold it, mechanically hold it together. Okay, so now that tube's mechanically fastened together and then taped as well, so there's no chance of it coming apart. So now that we've got one extension on there, now we can go ahead and drop it in and kind of get an idea of where we're going to land inside. And it just drops from the top here. And what we have to do is then adjust this angle to line up with that X or that T down there. So what we can do is we can take this and kind of turn it a little bit to hold it, and then we can actually take the tube and start to make an angle. So we can just very gently take the tubing, spin it, that looks like about right. If you're standing right up above, looks like that's about the right angle. We may have to make some adjustments as we get towards the bottom. Ideally, what you want is somebody down below with the transition box in place, and that way you can make fine adjustments before you lock this in place. If we were done at this point with fastening it, we'll finish from the bottom on the ladder. We'll put another extension tube and the transition box on there and get it set. So we're finished here. We just need to start putting the flashing on, or the dome. So we're going to take the dome seal, which is this horsehair seal that we have here, and we're just going to take it and run it all the way around this turret section of the flashing. So we're going to take it and attach it right to the flashing. That's locked in place. That's going to help with any air movement between it. It's going to help with dust and stuff in between the dome. So we're going to take that 330 dome. This is an inner dome for the 330. It comes with the 750 itself. So when you order it, it comes with it. If for some chance you don't use it, just know that there's no UV protection in this one. It's all in the 750 outer dome. The 330, when you buy it by itself, it has the UV protection in it. So we'll just set that over the top. We get these little spacers. We're going to take the spacers and put them on the inner dome. Now they're going to fit right inside there. We only get 3 of them, but there's extra holes. We're just going to go in every other hole. So we got one here. We're going to skip one and go to the next one. And then we're going to skip this one here and then go to the next one here. Then we're just going to take the 750. It doesn't have the extra opening, so it's only got 3. So we're just going to line those openings up with those spacers. And we can kind of push over the top, pull and push over the top, and pull and push over the top. That's ready to be screwed in. I would highly recommend pre-drilling before you do it. So we'll pre-drill the holes. That way it'll help pierce through the tubing itself. Instead of the fastener pushing through and pushing the tubing material in, it'll actually pierce and go all the way through. So we've got somebody on the roof that's pulling the top tube out just to give us a little room to get the bottom tube on the transition box. We'll have it suspended here. We'll try to make our angle, make some adjustments if we need to, but the goal here is to have the bottom tube sitting on top of the transition box and the extension tube, or the bottom tube, going into that extension tube there. And then once we get that dialed in, then we can fasten it and tape it all together. Okay, can you pull it straight up? Just a little bit. Okay. But I'm going to tape the whole thing so there's no light leaking out of there. Oh. Yeah.
Reflective. 99.7.
Tape that bottom tube to the transition box. Leave that on the other side there so I can finish it off. Okay, so we're just putting in the natural effect lens on the transition box here, and it's got a seal in there that's got a pressure fit. So I've pushed it up inside there, so it's just hanging in there right now. We've got these little tabs here that can swivel in and out. If they ever need to do maintenance inside the tubing, they can go ahead and just turn these over and pull them out. This will also help to hold the natural effect lens in place as well, as the pressure fit would eventually let it fall out with gravity. So we're just going to put these in and lock that into place. Beautiful. Okay, so we should be able to set this right inside here and then lock it into place. These 4 tabs fit into those little holes there. And one more. It's way over there. Okay, all set.
Right.
And that's daylight.